It was Bravo Team's helicopter. Nobody was in it. But strangely, most of the equipment was still there. However, we soon discovered why.
No! Don't go! Jill, run for that house!
Resident Evil.
Resident Evil's always been a part of my life, but not a substantial one. The first one I played was Resident Evil 4, I then played 5, skipped 6, then finished off with 7. I haven't played any of the spin-offs yet or cared to watch the movies, so I wanted to go back and play from the beginning so I can really understand the hype about the series and where it all started. So I decided that before I even touch any of the remasters, I am going to go all the way back to 1996 on the PlayStation 1 and play Resident Evil Director's Cut. So when I first started the game, I realized what I was getting myself into when I noticed some of the cutscenes were actual real-life actors in the most 90s style music ever. You are introduced to the main cast of characters like Chris Redfield, Jill Valentine, Barry Burton, Rebecca Chambers, and Albert Wesker. And boy, when I tell you that you just feel the 90s pouring through your TV screen with this intro, you really feel it. With the horrible sound effects, cheesy music, ridiculous outfits, and why Wesker decides to keep wearing sunglasses out at night is anyone's guess but mine. So with my playthrough, I decided to play as Jill. I dabbled in Chris's playthrough a bit, and while there are minor differences, it is essentially the same game. Instead of having Barry with you as Jill, you have Rebecca. The biggest thing about this game that turned me away from it for so many years and why it took me this long to get around to it was the camera. It is always stationary and sometimes can be a big pain in the ass when you're trying to kill zombies that are off screen. Granted, you have auto aim, so you're never really missing unless you're at least pointing in the vicinity of the enemy, but it always still was a thing that just bugged me. You get used to it and I don't mind it after a while, and I mean, after playing this game I kind of got the feeling that it's just a novelty that comes with it, and I don't think it would be the same without it, honestly, which is why I think they brought it back for the HD remaster, but we'll get to that when the time comes. So the way you control your character is with the D-pad. That took me some time getting used to. Sometimes this meant that backing away from enemies literally meant doing like a K-turn to escape. You aim with R1 and shoot with X. You get 8 inventory slots with Jill, unlike Chris where you only have 6. So this makes Jill's playthrough a bit more easier, especially if you play the game just right, because it really doesn't give you an objective on what to do, so you just end up exploring the mansion until things just start to happen, you start to put things together. That means that with different playthroughs, the game will play out differently every time. So for instance, if you find the shotgun, you can either replace it so that the trap that activates when you leave the room doesn't activate, or just take it and let the trap activate and just wait for Barry to come save your ass. I really like this concept because there are different endings for the game you can get. Now, you start the game off with a knife, a pistol, a spray can you can use for health. The pistol is pretty good to start with, but the knife is completely useless. You do come across a variety of different weapons, but they are very few in between. The health you get in the game comes in different forms. The first one is a spray can that you can use to heal all the way up from near death. These are always great to find. Then you have herbs. Green herbs are good for a moment's notice, like if you get hurt unexpectedly. Now, if you fuse a red and green herb together, it is essentially like the spray can. The blue herbs you find can heal you from being poisoned. Health and ammo are pretty scarce throughout the mansion, so be mindful when unloading on enemies. Sometimes, depending on your situation, it is best to just avoid them entirely, but even that can be difficult because due to the weird controls, you can get caught and hurt by an enemy, and if you die, then that means you must start all the way back from where you last saved. Speaking of which, the way you save in this game, and I'll be honest, I completely understand where they were going with this idea, but to me, I just never liked this concept. Either having limited amounts of saves or having to go to a very specific place to save. And this game has both. You have to go around this mansion seeking what's called ink ribbons, and once you collect these, find a room with a typewriter in it, and now you are able to save your progress. I hate this concept. Now, like I said before, I understand why they did it, I understand why they keep doing it, but it doesn't mean I have to like it. Now, the reason why I do not like it is because I could be playing this game pretty late at night. I need to get to sleep. I would really like to save the game right now and continue at a later time, but in order for me to do this, I have to first hope that I even have an ink ribbon on me, and if I do, am I close to a typewriter? If I don't, then that means I have to scour throughout the game to find one of these ink ribbons, and understand this is my first time playing through this game. I have to find one and then find the room with the typewriter in it with a million doors in this mansion that take 10 fucking years to open, and try to find the typewriter in this maze of a mansion. Now, I know why they did this, because they really want you to make you feel that you have your back against the wall and be very patient with the game and make wise decisions. I get it, I really do, but I just do not like it, I'm sorry. And I mentioned it before for a split second, but I'll bring it up again. The doors, the stairs, the ladders, the elevators. Now, this might be nitpicking, but this is such a big part of the game because you will see this for about at least 30 to 40% of the game you play. It's just loading the game every time you want to enter a different room, and it still wants to load in the same room when you're just going up a flight of stairs. Now, ladders and elevators, I can understand. That makes sense to me in a way. But dear God, for the amount of time I spend wasting opening doors because I end up in a room that I wasn't supposed to be in, having to turn around, open that door again, and realize I was actually supposed to be in the room that I just fucking left. Fuck this game. Now, like I said, with the camera angles, the whole opening doors and loading thing, comes, with the novelty of it all, which is why they brought that to the HD remaster again also. So like I said, I can understand, with the limitations, with the technology that they had at the time, that they had to do something like that because they had to load every single room. I understand, but it's just still something that bugs me. But moving on, you come across a variety of different enemies also. You clearly start the game with the generic zombies and then lead up to tougher enemies, like hunters that can jump up in the air and attack or run at you at full speed, zombie dogs, sharks, a giant snake, and I really don't want to spoil all the kind of enemies that are in this game, but I just want to let you know that if you have arachnophobia like me, spiders, fucking spiders. So apart from the killing and running around, you also have to do some puzzles throughout the game to be able to progress, and boy, when I tell you I suck at puzzles, I suck. Some of them are really easy and some of them are just downright annoying. I play video games to relax, people, not to think, god damn it. But regardless, it's still fun because it gives more variety to the game and is a great time away from the mindless killing. The atmosphere this game gives off is pretty cool too. It can make you feel like you really need to get the hell out of this mansion. I like that concept because you just come across all of this info about an evil corporation when really all you're just trying to do is just get your friends together and get the hell out of here. Now, this game's story is pretty good. You're originally tasked to find out about what happened to this helicopter that crashed, but when being cornered by vicious monsters, you are forced to retreat back to this giant mansion. You are split apart, and now your mission is to find everyone and get the hell out. The discoveries you make and the lore you read in this game, which is what made it to what it's all about today, is pretty interesting to know. The only thing that I just can't get behind is this awful, and I mean awful, dialogue and voice acting. It honestly just felt like that they got some people in the department that wasn't doing anything at all and was just asked if they wanted to do some voice acting for fun. It is so bad, but honestly it comes with the charm of it all, so I love it and hate it all at the same time.
That's what I was going to say. Where on earth have you been? You disappeared from the hall all of a sudden.
I'm sorry, but I have my reasons.
This was a fun game, guys. I'm definitely going to be going back and play through Chris's playthrough and probably make a separate video on that, but I'll get to that when the time comes. Once you know the ins and outs of this game, it can be very easy and you can fly through this game. If you haven't gone into the Resident Evil series yet, but were thinking about it, then I highly suggest starting with this original classic. But if you want a bit more modern take on it, then probably pick up the remastered version. But guys, my name is Pedro Ordonez, also known as Gamelight7. Please subscribe, comment, like, thumbs up, do whatever you guys can to support this channel. I stream on Twitch every Monday, Tuesday, and Friday from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let me know what you guys want me to cover next, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace out.